We're 8 days away from the NFL draft, and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni spoke to the media yesterday, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk. It's a matter of trust. Great Billy Joel song. And the trust we have in the four executives that run our four favorite franchises. And finally, did the Phillies win yesterday? Spoiler alert, yes, they did. We're going to talk about it. Trend in the AM, taking all your thoughts and opinions. We're live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome all to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live, YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share button. And, of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It is free to do it. It's free to hit these buttons. It is. It's free to do. It helps grow this great channel. 495 subscribers, 5 away from 500, 505 away from 1,000. The march goes on. And the march goes on in the Philadelphia landscape. The march goes on in the Philadelphia sports conversation. And as the great Billy Joel song says, it's a matter of trust. Yesterday, we're 8 days away from the NFL draft. Yesterday, Howie Roseman, mostly, and a little bit of Nick Sirianni spoke to the media. Did a little pre-draft press conference. And I'm listening, and I listened to the full 28-minute press conference, word for word. Took notes. I got a whole page of notes on random comments. But it makes me think. It makes me ask. You know, as we've spent a lot of time this week criticizing Dave Dombrowski, criticizing Daryl Morey, what's the thought process? What's your confidence in the four GMs? I put a tweet out there yesterday about this. And you'd be shocked at what some people say. You'd be shocked that some people don't have confidence in Howie Roseman. It's comical, honestly, those people. But, guys, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what Howie Roseman had to say. Doesn't give us any insight into the draft. We're going to talk about the Phillies' victory last night and how it's just another victory in a season where they're going to win a lot of games, but yet still disappoint. And we are just going to start firing off on the comments right away. Good morning, Duck. How are you this morning? Good morning to you, Anthony, as well. Hope everyone in the chat is well this morning. You know, real quick, I'll get to the rest of the comments in a second. I see Anthony. I see Duck. I see everybody here every day. But when I sit down at my desk about 5 minutes before I'm about to go live, and I click on YouTube, and I see 4, 5, 6, 8 people waiting for the show to start, it gives me this special warm feeling on the inside. I love it. I love this community we're building. I love the regulars, the core 12. I love the fact that you guys love sitting here with me every morning and discussing the sports topics every single day. It really means something to me. It does. Marsh, few days off. Yeah, right. So it's on the bench. Yeah. Brandon Marsh's 3+ days off turned into 1 day, not even a full day off, because he came in as a defensive replacement on Monday night, and he proceeded to go 0 for 3 again last night. So that you could say something to Topper about that. 5 more subs to 500. That's right. So hit that. Let's go. It's pretty simple to do. You want a mock draft, so we'll do a mock draft. If I don't skip tomorrow's show, I have to call the surgeon and get a tooth removed sometime soon. Got a cracked tooth that's hurting like hell. So whether that's today, tomorrow, or Friday, but I will do a mock draft. Maybe if I get done work and I feel good, maybe I'll come and do a live training in the PM and we'll just do a mock draft. I don't know. Maybe. I'm a big fan of Eagles season. Better Eagles draft, Georgia. Good morning, little G. Hope you are well. Phillies game proves the ABS is needed. I love that Alec Bohm, despite all his struggles, and I know he had some hard hit balls last night, had a huge hit, drove in a few runs last night. But I love, no matter how much of a slump that Alec Bohm is in. He's still got the confidence himself to make the ABS signal to the umpire, even though it doesn't even count. But yes, this whole series so far, because you had the JT Real Muto situation, the first game of the series. Why we're not using the ABS system, I don't know. It's comical to me. It's comical to me. But I bet you by next year it's installed. Maybe they find a way to install it by the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe they make one of those rare in-season rule changes and bring it in, because it's going to affect the outcome of a major game in some team, and it's going to be needed. That missed strike in the 8th was so bad. Yeah, I was still awake at that point. So, yes, it was bad. It's a problem. You know, it's a problem. And, yes, I do believe home plate umpiring got to be one of the most difficult things to do in sports, referee and umpiring wise. Calling balls and strikes is so difficult, Anthony, Big Al. But we have the technology readily available to make it easier, to make it better. Yet baseball is choosing not to do it, to use it, to affect that change, make that change. And it's kind of comical to me that they have the ability. They've tried out the technology, and they still refuse to use it. Like, it makes no sense to me. They killed the momentum and gave the Giants a run that made this game closer than it should be. Absolutely. The Phillies stink. I'm sorry. Sorry, Rick. I know you're the next comment. The ABS system is long overdue. Umps calling balls and strikes is an antiquated method. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense why they would. It's right there. You're taking the hardest job in officiating sports. You've got the technology to make it better, and you choose not to. Home plate umps just stand there. Other refs have to run their asses off. Yeah, it don't matter. It's easier to call a foul in the NBA. It's easier to call roughing the passer. You just got to pay attention. Calling balls and strikes on 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, followed by 85-mile-an-hour sliders in a little box while you're hovering over a catcher and a batter swinging a bat in your face. Calling balls and strikes to me is probably the hardest thing to do officiating in sports. How about I rephrase this, K1? It's the hardest thing to do that we have the technology to make it easier, and we choose not to do it. After drafting Q and Coop, what's up, Peanut? How you doing this morning? I can imagine that Howie is facing incredible pressure to deliver on this draft. Do you think he overthinks it this year and reacts? No, I listened to 28 minutes of Howie Roseman speaking yesterday. And I am more confident than ever that Howie Roseman will make the right decisions. Now, he did spend a lot of time talking about trading in the draft, trading up, trading back, staying put. And I'm more confident than ever that he is going to stay put until the board starts to fall. Now, he was very honest. Like somebody like Malachi Stark, some people have him going in the top 20. Where are my notes here? I got to go through. I got random notes all over the place here. Getting into the top 20 from where they sit at 32 is a slim thing. It's very unlikely. You got to be realistic with where you could trade up and trade back to. But how he says he goes through his draft process, but he used one specific line. Part of his DNA is to be aggressive in the draft. And that's Howie. So Howie is going to be aggressive. And that tells me maybe Howie is working on 5, 6, 7 different scenarios to trade up for X, Y, and Z defensive tackle, X, Y, and Z Malachi Stark, whatever it may be, another offensive lineman. Howie's words of it's in my DNA, that aggressive nature, tells me he's trying and he's working on something to move up in the draft. I think he trades up too, K1. Yesterday I was kind of teetering on that. But now, kind of feeling like whoever it is that they want, they're going to go get him. They're not going to let one guy slip through their fingertips. And I keep going back to Starks now that he's had a top 30 visit here. and how Howie really does utilize those top 30 visits. And I think about how it probably irks him. And this is not a knock on Jordan Davis, but he passed up on Kyle Hamilton for Jordan Davis. He passed up on Brian Branch 2 years ago. Like, he's had an opportunity to draft that future safety multiple times, and he's missed on it. This year, there's one that could start next to Reed Blankenship for the next 4 or 5 years. How aggressive will he be to go get him? I feel like it's 10 years ago when people couldn't tell what a catch was in the NFL. Well, that was always a problem. That was always a tough one. But that was because the language wasn't consistent on what a catch was. If there was a year Roseman is not under a ton of pressure, it's this year. Great point, Rick. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm watching this press conference, and the giggling and the joking and the attitude from Howie Roseman, he's got no pressure. He's got a bromance brewing with Nick Sirianni, their best buddies. Like, the weight of the world is off of Howie Roseman's shoulders right now. But he still wants more. We still can't. The NFL is constantly, they keep changing that rule. I still don't know what a catch is. Does anybody? Who won the Masters? I don't know. Bryson DeChambeau? Maybe? I'm not sure. All I know is who won the Masters didn't talk to Bryson during the round, so that's upsetting Bryson a little bit. Howie's patient has paid dividends for Howie lately. Yeah, so Howie talked yesterday, and I love this. Howie doesn't start his draft process by saying, this is my top guy. How do I get him? He talked about it yesterday. He starts with the worst case scenario. All right, here are all the guys. What's the worst that can happen to us in the draft when we get to 32? And then they work backwards or frontwards from there. They start back and they work forward. And I thought that was an interesting way. It's not like, and maybe that's why you don't see them reaching anymore for players. Well, I got to get this guy, so I got to reach. No. I got 10 scenarios. Scenario 10 is the worst. Can we live with that? All right. So what do we do to get to 9? What do we get to 8 on our list, 10 on our 7 on our list, and so on? I love that philosophy. I agree. I just worry he may do too much to get there. That's not how. Howie won't do too much unless it's a player he truly loves. And he's earned the right. My confidence meter post on Twitter. He's a 10. He's got my utmost confidence. I care too, Zach. Yeah, I got to put a little bit of a clickbait thing in a title occasionally to get people to tune in. I do care about the Phillies. I want them to win. I want them to win a World Series. I don't think they will. My criticism of the Phillies, Zach, comes from the fact that I do care. And I want more. His trade up will be at most 10 spots. I would be shocked that it's hard to trade up much more than 10 spots unless you're going for a quarterback, because you can't justify the capital for just a player. You can justify trading multiple future picks for a future quarterback, but you can't do it for other things. So at most, he's going to get to 20, 22 at most. But getting inside the top 20, he said it. He said it's slim. He said it's in his DNA to be aggressive, but he also said it's slim to get into the top 20. 3rd and 5th and overpay for Hendrickson. How can he? I heard some people talking about that. Actually, what's his name? Eagles beat reporter for CBS, Jeff Kerr, wrote an article about 5 potential trades. One of them was to trade the first pick overall for Hendrickson, which is a way overpay the first pick. That's still a scenario that's out there. It is. You just have to pay the guy. And where are you going to get that money to pay him? I don't know. What's up, Dante? You came in late yesterday, coming in early today, which I love. We have too many picks not to use them as in our favor to move up in the draft. Howie will. I am 90% convinced Howie is moving up in the draft. Moving on up, especially if there's a player that falls that he wants. Howie's trading down. Some stupid team will overpay for next year control. That's the 10% of me. Howie picking at 32 is at 0% in my mind. With his comments yesterday, Anthony, I'm 90% trade up, 10% trade back. That's where I stand. Drafting in the trenches is way to go. Would be shocked if the Eagles don't draft a defensive tackle O-line or an edge rusher with their first pick. Yeah, we know that. But Howie has changed his philosophy many times over the years lately. And while he does want an offensive lineman and he does want a defensive tackle, and they did talk about, by the way, Lane Johnson and how he's going to be willing to groom the next guy. And I love hearing that conversation there. This is the reality. Safety's what I want, even though I don't think Starks is that great. He's nowhere near the realm of a Kyle Hamilton prospect. But I think safety is a much underrated need. I would be very okay with them going out and drafting Jalen Reed in the 3rd or 4th round, bringing in Justin Simmons to fix the position. But if there's a scenario you can get Malachi Starks cheaply, I'm doing it. Not Oberg, yeah. Oberg, no. Cost himself what? $500,000 by triple bogeying the 18th hole. I don't really catch up on to the Phillies until end of April or early May anyway. I watch them. Every night I get home from work, I change out of my work clothes, sit on that couch, and put the Phillies game on. Every day. I could do other things while I'm doing that, too. Walter Nolan would be a great fit here, great pass rush coming from the defensive tackle. He was asked about that. Funny you bring up defensive tackle pass rush. Where's my notes on that? He was asked, and I didn't get which beat reporter asked what. The change over the years at defensive tackle position. And he said, I quote, "You have to be able to pass rush now from that position." Was that slight dig at Jordan Davis, who he refused to talk about Jordan Davis's situation? I mean, Jordan Davis actually can pass rush, I think, if given more opportunities to. But you have to be a great pass rusher from the interior of the defensive line. And he spoke about that. Again, more insight into what characteristics he's looking for in draft prospects. I will catch a few games before that point. I catch some of every game. I don't watch all of every Phillies game, but I catch some of every game. 1, because of the show. 2, because I love baseball. I might sound like a Debbie Downer when talking to Phillies. But it's only it's out of my negativity towards the Phillies is based out of love. I don't pay attention to baseball until August at the earliest. Well, that's a boring summer then, K1. Baseball in summer is all it's all about. Did we talk about Watt and Ramsey? We did not. And Trey Hendrickson was just brought up a few minutes ago, Duck. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey has been offered the opportunity to seek a trade. I'm not trading assets for Jalen Ramsey. We got Q. We got Coop. Jalen Ramsey would solidify that secondary, obviously. Absolutely. Can you imagine a Ramsey, Q, and Cooper secondary? But are you really going to trade what it takes for him? And J.J. Watt's going to want Myles Garrett money. So the same reason why I don't think we could trade for Trey Hendrickson is the same reason why we can't trade for J.J. Watt. 30-year-old defensive end that wants $30, $40 million a year. When you've got to pay Jalen Carter $30, $40 million a year next year. Now, can anyone make the money work more than Howie? No. Would I be excited if he got these guys? Absolutely. Would I worry about the future? In the future only? Sure. I just don't see it in the forecast for what Howie's trying to do, building a young team. Howie's goal is to build a young team, young, controllable team, not bring in aging veterans. The ABS system needs to get 3 dimensions of the plate correct until it is better than 95% average on humans. They most likely won't bring it to MLB. It had okay. So that I don't know. I didn't know they were even keeping stats. Noobs, where can I find the stats that they kept on it? Explain that to me. Are people less likely to trade with Howie with them winning the Super Bowl? No, I don't think so. I think teams might get a little cautious because he seems to win trades more often than not. But I don't think so. I think other teams trade with Howie because he just wears them down. I think he does wear them down. It's like that scene in Moneyball where, or in the Draft Day movie where Kevin Costner or Pitt's characters are just playing hardball in the trades. That's Howie. Howie gets what he wants. I know there's a team out there that wants Huff. Yeah, that's wishful thinking. That is wishful thinking. I think there's a team. There's rumors that the Giants want Dallas Goedert. I think there's teams that want Dallas Goedert. I think there's teams that would trade for Jordan Davis. I don't think there's many teams that want Bryce Huff. Yeah, you're gonna have to eat that contract. And there's a huge cap hit. How do you like Stott leading off? I'm a fan of. Look, 2 years ago on this very show, Steve, I brought up Bryson Stott before we brought in Trey Turner. I said that Bryson Stott was the future leadoff hitter of this team. I think he's got the contact rate. He's got the pitch selection. He's got enough speed to run on the bases. I always thought Bryson Stott had leadoff hitter in him. And I think he's done well. Was it been 2 games since he's been bumped up to the leadoff spot? 3 games in a row? I think he likes hitting in the leadoff spot. That gives you the opportunity to keep Trey in the 2-hole. It gives you the opportunity to keep Schwarber protecting Bryce Harper. I love it. I love it. His first game 2 years ago, leading off, he went like 0 for 6. And I said, I don't care. I watched that game. I'm like, I like the plate discipline. I like what I see. Do it again. But he went 0 for 6, and they didn't do it again. Zach says, I do not understand the criticism about the Phillies. Rob Thompson is not the coach. Bryce Harper only wants stats. You can tell the way he shrinks the back every swing. He wants a home run bomb. Look, the criticism of Rob Thompson is he's just not the guy to push them over the top. A. B. Bryce Harper, I said it yesterday on this show, Zach. I'm very close to turning heel on Bryce Harper. Right? I'm about over the Bryce Harper drama. I'm over it. Yeah, I know he had a big home run last night, 2-run bomb. Great. It doesn't make up for him not running out of ground ball. So I think there's a lot of criticism to go around with this Philadelphia Phillies team. Marcus Mbao would be a nice player as he groomed. Yeah, absolutely. I've mocked him to the Eagles multiple times, Rick. Definitely an option. You know, Nick Sirianni, one of the few times he spoke yesterday, talked about how willing Lane Johnson is to train his replacement, but then also brought in the culture that they've established where Jason Kelsey groomed Cam Jurgens, Brandon Graham helped groom Nolan Smith, Fletcher Cox helped groom, Jalen Carter, that these guys want to groom their replacements. And what that says about the team, the culture, and the characters of the guys that they bring in here. So that would be something. Howie said they didn't rate 32 players on first-round picks, but I guarantee you there will be a great player available at 32. Will Howie draft him? No, because I think he trades back or he trades up. But yeah, you know what? A lot of people are talking about how he doesn't have 32 first-round grades. I was doing some digging on this, Mr. A. Howie never has 32 first-round graded players. B, from what I read and Googled on this, most GMs don't have 32 first-round graded players. Most players, most teams. So it's not as uncommon as people think. Yeah, but no. So there was a daily ump report card on the ABS system as well. There's a Twitter account that does the report cards all the time, and I check that out from time to time. Did they have a report card on the ABS system? That's what I didn't know. I think Howie has the coaching staff to get most out of players that they didn't perform where they are. That's another thing. I mean, he said yesterday they review and put up reports of 500 players, so that in free agency 3 years from now, free agent waiver wires, they got information on everybody. Most NFL GMs understand they can only control what they can control, so they aren't out there to ignore a trade with Howie if it gets them what they think they need to make their team better. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. And while Howie has fleeced a lot of GMs over the years, in our opinion, on trades, I bet you some of those GMs think that they won those deals. Probably. And I think some GMs, to be a GM, you've got to be very arrogant. You got to have an ego. You think you can fleece Howie, even though you got to feel that way. Small school sleeper to watch, Charles Grant. I've seen a lot of people hyping up William and Mary's tackle, Charles Grant. A lot of people hyping him up, Rick. I think, got a lot of pages of notes to go back to. I think the Eagles have brought him in as a top 30 visit. These are the more recent ones. I don't see his name there. Let me go to the original 11 here. Yes, he was one of the original top 30 visits, Rick. So the Eagles see what you see and I see on Charles Grant as well. It won't tell you what you want to hear. Angel Hernandez is a mid-level ump. The issue is he makes a spectacle. Oh, absolutely. I'd rather a missed ball and strike versus the Angel Hernandez spectacle, for sure. Dante spent a lot of time talking about this yesterday. Bryce Harper does get a lot of passes. it's how he wears his emotions on his sleeve, etc. Fans resonate to him, but he needs to be called out more frequently, Dante. He absolutely needs to be called out more frequently. Absolutely. If Jalen Hurts, quote unquote, took plays off like Bryce Harper does, he'd be run out of town. I mean, he's won Super Bowl, and people still want to run him out of town. Content check. 5 more. That's why you got to hit like, you got to hit the share button, and you got to hit the subscribe button, and then we'll be up to 500. And then I'll just start talking about 1,000. So like, share, subscribe. There should be close to 20 likes on this video already. My guess is there isn't. I'm going to do a quick refresh here. We are sitting at 14 likes. Not bad. 14 likes on this video right now. Not bad. But all you got to do is hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, guys. Most drafts, there aren't 32 true first-rounders. There's maybe 2 or 3 players at each position. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So that part of the press conference really, I think, is getting a little overblown. But that's right. Says the Eagles draft needs our wide receiver, edge, O-line, and cornerback. Well, that just goes to show how awful PFF is. I won't pay PFF for their mock draft simulator. Pro Football Network, which I've used on this show, right now is the best mock draft simulator that's free, but they don't allow you to trade picks after 2026 or 1 year into the future, and they don't allow trading players. PFF does, but you got to pay to use it, and I wouldn't give PFF a penny of my money. No way. We don't need a wide receiver. Could we use a wide receiver? Sure. I think wide receiver is a bigger need than people think. It's always something Howie attacks and make sure we have plenty of depth at. We obviously need edge O-line. In theory, we need a cornerback, but we need a safety more than cornerback. Pat Homer, yeah, look, there are good umps out there, and I'm not attacking all of them. I tried to stand up for them, Nooms. I said it earlier, that being a home plate umpire for a game is probably the hardest officiating thing to do in baseball, especially with the boxes on TV. And the images and the graphics they put up to show instant in the moment, they're constantly on the TV showing whether the ump was right or wrong. The instant criticism of them with social media is right there. Got to be the hardest job. Katy Perry went to space, but K1 did not. What? They asked you. Oh, okay, gotcha. Look, I don't know what kind of media spectacle that was supposed to be yesterday. I brought up Tennessee defensive end James Pierce on the show a week ago or two, and stand by that pick. Let me check. I don't think he's been brought in yet. I think there's 7 spots available to bring in still on top 30 visits, but let me look him up on my list here. James Pierce. Let's see here. Not the most recent ones. James Pierce. He has not been brought in for a top 30 visit, Rick. And I keep asking that when you guys bring up names, because 9 of the last 16 draft picks the Eagles have made have been top 30 picks. All of the first 3 picks of the last 2 rounds had top 30 visits. Okay? So Howie does like to meet with these guys in the early part of the draft before bringing them in. So, there's still a week to go. There's still 7 spots that they could bring in for visits. So maybe if his name comes out, maybe they will. But I would highly doubt that they would draft someone in the first round that they didn't meet with ahead of the draft. Blue Origin flights are what is wrong with this world now. It used to be skilled and trained people did amazing thing. Now about money. You pay to walk. Yeah, look, even if I had billions of dollars, I ain't paying to go to the moon. Plain and simple, or going into outer space. Screw that. And now Everest is totally trash. Yeah, look, saw a video of how trashed Everest was on social media today. It's crazy. It's crazy. Home plate umps is extremely tough, but all the more reason to replace them. Yeah, give them the information. You can have a home plate ump, and he can challenge his own calls, or he can get buzzed. You can put a buzzer A buzzer on his right hip, a buzzer on his left hip. A buzzer on the right hip is a strike. A buzzer on the left hip is a ball. And he can still be there to call outs at home plate, to manage different situations. But you've got the technology. Use it. Again, I haven't done any research on Pierce because the only research I'm doing is on the guys that have been brought in so far. But they have to bring him in first. It still seems like Sirianni still doesn't get his respect. The media always prefers to ask, I feel bad. When you're going to get 97% of the questions, why even have Nick Sirianni up there? Now, he did answer a few questions. He gave some good insight. There is, Mr. some kind of a bromance between Howie and Nick. About the 21-minute mark yesterday, something was said, and Howie looked at Nick, and the two started giggling like two schoolboys fighting over a girl in the recess lot. Okay, like they're like best buddies now. Like I can see them going out for beers now after practice. But yeah, I still don't think Nick Sirianni gets the respect he deserves. Hell, based off of my poll yesterday, or my comments yesterday on Twitter, Howie Roseman still don't get the respect he deserves. If the rumor is true that you would do tomorrow's show shirtless, no, that is not true. And if I did what you're randomly joking about, Big Al, I would lose 500 subscribers in 5 minutes. Instantly. Nobody want to see this without a shirt on. Nobody want to see my Italian hairy chest on this show. Just keep the home plate umps to call safe or out, and the timer for pitch clock and anything else. But, yeah, you don't need to use them. YouTube would probably demonetize. Well, we're not monetized to demonetize, but I think they would just shut the channel down. Just straight up shut it down. Sirianni should be a top 3 paid head coach in the league. He will get his extension at some point this offseason. And he will get paid to the respect level he deserves. Now, will he get the respect? I don't know, from the people. But the Eagles will show him the respect he deserves and pay him. I like that Sirianni and Roseman are friends. Works better than if Sirianni hated his boss. Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. But it's kind of like going into last year, it wasn't there. And I guess winning the Super Bowl makes the bromance a little easier. You know what I mean? Like, at some point last year, they started giggling a lot more. Now they're like, bros. Yo, bro, what up? Refs suck. Umps suck. Officials suck. I can't stand any of them. They have as big egos as the players, should be fired or fined for a rogue. Absolutely. There should be a better accountability system. And, the problem with the officiating in sports is that the leagues manage them. Okay? I don't know who directly is each person's boss, but you always get these ump or official reports after games. And very rarely will the leagues call out their officials for bad jobs. They say they hold them accountable, but do they? I kind of feel like an outside company needs to manage the officials. It can't be associated. The Core 12 needs to be hired to handle managing the officials, to call them out, to promote the good ones, to demote the bad ones, to find bad mistakes. You need an outside arbitrary company to manage them, not the company that they're officiating for. That's also how you get things like people thinking games are rigged. After the show's over, I'm watching some Rodney. I get no respect. When he makes it easier to like someone you might not actually like. Yeah, it's true. See, if Duck can come around, it can happen. Yeah, if Duck can show some respect to Nick Sirianni, if the pump man can show some respect to Jalen Hurts, anything is possible in the world today. Anything's possible. So it's possible that the Eagles trade up. It's possible they trade back. You know, I think something is cooking with Dallas Goedert and Jordan Davis. Howie Roseman, while he doesn't give you much, he actually gives you a lot if you listen to him regularly like I do. And when asked about Jordan Davis, he was just so openly like, I cannot discuss an ongoing situation. Boom. No, well, you know, great question, this, that, blah, 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 blah. No. 3-second answer, done. Asked about Dallas Goedert and the draft-heavy tight ends that are in this class. The draft is a separate entity to everything else and has moved on. Very concise, pre-prepared answers on Jordan Davis and Dallas Goedert versus a little of this, a little of that, a little dipsy-do here and there. Very precise, pre-rehearsed answers. And to me, that tells me something's being worked on there. You know, obviously there's the reports of the Giants being interested from Jordan, can't even read my handwriting, Ronan. He's basically the Tim McManus for the Giants, works for ESPN. Put out information that Giants have called on Dallas Goedert. It would suck to see him go to the Giants, but whatever. Zach Ertz plays for the Commanders. That didn't bother us. Didn't affect us. Howie Roseman was very concise. That tells me that the Jordan Davis situation is one he's working on. He didn't give us where he's leaning. Dallas Goedert, he's working on. Didn't show where he's leaning. Now, he did say something else right after that, and I want to talk about it. And I love this philosophy here. He attacks free agency to fill all the needs on a team as best as he can, so that when the draft rolls around next Thursday, there's no direct need that he has to go get. Like he brought in Uche and Olajulari and stuff like that at edge so that he doesn't have to go out and trade up to get the best defensive end. He makes sure he's always got guys here on this team so that in the draft he could just draft the best player. Yeah, in a position of need per se, but he doesn't have to be overly aggressive to make sure he attacks one specific position. And I love that. And that's where going and getting Harrison Bryant and was the other tight end they brought in, means they don't have to go out and trade up for Tyler Warren or any of these tight ends. If one falls to them in the third round, sure. Absolutely. But he doesn't have to be overly aggressive with the position. I would love to be a home plate umpire just to argue with managers and batters. Yeah, exactly. Got you, K1. I'm working on it. LSU tight end Mason Taylor would be a great fit to replace Goddard. He's got all the skills to be a stud in the league. Yeah. He's Hall of Fame son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. I did not know that. Look. Sure, great, fine. But he doesn't have to reach because he's brought in that depth at tight end with guys he thinks can fill in if they lose Dallas Goedert, which I'm leaning towards both Jordan Davis and Dallas Goedert not being on this team next year. He's got the depth there. So if Mason Taylor falls to them in a position they feel comfortable taking him, they will. If they have to trade up 1 or 2 picks, they will. But they don't have to go and mortgage the future to trade up 12 spots to get the best tight end in the draft. They don't have to do that. And that's a philosophy of Howie's that I love. Howie really dropped some dimes on his philosophies. That there, the whole working backwards on the draft, going from worst to best case scenario. Really dropped some dimes yesterday. Was Randy Moss's son a tight end? I didn't even know that. He did so little in the NFL, didn't even know he was in the NFL for a minute. How about that? Guys, you're watching Trey in the Aim. Guys, like, share, subscribe. Let's go. These buttons. Well, these aren't the buttons. These are just the buttons you have to find on your screen, and you've got to hit them. You got to do it. What's great about replacing these home plate umpires is the computers don't have bad days or hold grudges for past arguments. That is true. There's no ego in a computer. Maybe there's an ego in the person that programs the computer, but, you know, You just got to trust the computer programmer. They do their job accurately how they're programmed to do it. You got to remember, there is an ego with the computer program. You got to remember that. I remember Moss's son, but he wasn't half the player that Mason Taylor is. Ain't even close. I mean, it's subjective. At this point, every player, from the person Cam Ward going number 1 overall to Mr. Irrelevant, every opinion on a college player is just that, an opinion. Until we see them in the NFL, we don't know. Every player has a chance to be a bust, from 1 to 256 or whatever it is. It's all a matter of opinion. If I were the programmers, the Mets would never get a call. It was close. Yeah, if I was the programmer, Zach Wheeler would have a 10-foot strike zone, and the opponents of the Phillies would have a 1-inch strike zone. 1 inch is still pretty big. Anyway, we're talking Eagles draft here. We're talking confidence in your GMs in Philadelphia right now. This is a show of opinions, and all opinions matter, Rick. We don't have to agree on those opinions, as we don't agree on the Phillies. But all opinions do matter. Oh, man. That is not what. Definitely. We rarely agree. I think we agree occasionally. I think we agree on football and basketball. The only thing we don't agree on is the Phillies are winning the World Series. I think that's the only thing we don't really regularly agree on. I mean, he's probably hanging around. If you say his name out loud, he'll just appear. I mean, it's the truth. So don't speak it into existence. Although he would like the video, and he would probably share it out. And I know he's already subscribed between like 5 of his accounts. So that would help the algorithm if he did show up. So Mitchie Poo, where are you at? Say your name, and let's see if you appear. That's what we do. We are up to 16 likes right now. 16 likes on this video. Can we get to 20 likes in the next 30, 40 minutes? Can we gain 1 new subscriber in the next 30, 40 minutes? That would be fantastic. So let's go back to that Jordan Davis, Dallas Goedert conversation. If we're going to stick to the Eagles, if we're talking Phillies, it's great. If we're talking the GMs of this team or this city and your confidence, fine. But if you want to stick to Eagles talk, I want more opinions on what they should do with Jordan Davis and Dallas Goedert. And to recap, Jordan Davis, you got till May 2nd to pick up his 5th-year option. Or you got to extend him, or you got to run him back on a 1-year deal and risk losing him in free agency. Dallas Goedert has to be restructured, traded, or cut. You can't go into the year with the current contract on him. So, what do you feel not should happen? What do you feel will happen with each of those players? I think they're trying damn hard to trade Jordan Davis right now, before the draft or during the draft. You're not going to get a first-round pick from him, but I think they are trying to trade him. Dallas Goedert, I have a feeling, is going to get cut after the draft. I don't think they're going to find a trade partner that they can agree upon. Howie Roseman's not going to accept the 7th-round pick for him. He's going to hold out, and he's going to realize no one wants him, and he's going to have to cut him. In baseball, like life, patience isn't always easy to practice. But in baseball, more than any other sport, patience is incredibly important. I'm not selling the Phillies up the river just yet. I just don't think they get to the promised land, which is a parade down Broad Street. That's all I've said about the Phillies, just so you know. That's all I don't think. I watched film of Mason Taylor, good athleticism, great hands, but doesn't look like he cares for blocking. We'll come to Philly, and you're going to learn to care about blocking. I guess is the way to think about that. Goddard will be traded by draft day. Davis will get a multi-year, just not top dog. See, I think it's the opposite. I think Davis gets traded. I don't know if Goddard has as much of a trade market as people think. Like, is Howie really going to settle for a 7th-round pick for Dallas Goedert? I don't know. And I did bring up the Jordan Davis getting like a 3-year, $20 million, I don't know, $8 million, $9 million guaranteed contract. that you can easily renegotiate in like 2 years. But will Jordan Davis accept that? Jordan Davis is going to make like $10 million next year. And next offseason, if we don't pick up that fifth-year option, Duck, there will be a team that will try to pay Jordan Davis 50, 60. A team like the Patriots, a team like the Saints, teams that don't know how to run the front office and build a roster. The Jaguars always overpay in free agency. There are teams that constantly try to win the Super Bowl the first day of free agency, and I could see a team overpaying Jordan Davis. And in my opinion, if you're Jordan Davis, do you want to stay here for $20 million for a couple of years, or do you want to risk it and go to a bad team and get paid $50, $60, $70 million? And there's a team out there that would probably pay Jordan Davis next offseason if he does exactly the same thing as he's done so far. Next offseason, he'll get $50 million. I guarantee it. So that's why I think it's hard on Jordan Davis to make a decision there. That's why I think you trade him. Now, Dallas Goedert, again, do I care if he goes to the Giants? No. That's the latest rumor. It doesn't bother me at all. Zach Ertz didn't care to block either. Dallas Goedert didn't, or Zach Ertz didn't. Dallas Goedert was a terrible blocker early in his career. Terrible at blocking early in his career. And now here he's one of the better blockers in football. Ertz was a different era. Eagles' new modus operandi is run the ball. Absolutely, that's true. That's true. What's up, Barb? How you doing? Did you see where Travis Hunter would not play NFL football if a team told him he couldn't play every single play on offense and defense? I don't believe he'll do that at all, though. Yeah, no, he's not going to do that. That's not going to happen. It's a different age. It's funny, though, because that was kind of what Shohei Ohtani said before he came to America to play baseball. If you're not going to let me pitch and hit, I'm not going to play for you. And they let him do it. Now he's hurt again. He's out for a significant time, as a pitcher, but whatever. Like, Travis Hunter's not a Shohei Ohtani level player. And that's the thing. Ertz played in the exact same era he's still playing now. That's true. That's true. Look, you can learn to block as a tight end. You can't learn to catch and be. The athleticism can't be taught, but you can teach them. You can make them one. If you put them in a situation where the culture of team above player exists, like it does in Philadelphia. You guys, we're pushing 20 concurrent viewers, so everybody watching, make sure that like button in the chair. We should be at 20 likes right now. Everybody watching right now, like, share, subscribe. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We were at 16 the last I looked, and 495 subscribers. So, guys, let's do that, please. Each and every one of you. Pitching is only every 5 days, and he doesn't play in the field, only DH. Yeah, well, I think when he first came over, he played in the outfield too. I could be totally wrong. I thought he played center or outfield somewhere, but I could be way off on that. But yeah, I get that. I get it. But he's a different level of character. Oh, well, I can't wait till you're back. I'm just sit on the edge of my seat until Rick returns. Good morning, Eric. The gatekeeper is here. I did shout you out in one of my short videos yesterday, just so you know. The gatekeeper of the Core 12. If you want to call what Ertz is doing nowadays played, he's kind of just hanging around. I don't know about that. Zach Ertz had some really good games last year for the Commanders. He was a key, vital part of that offense last year, for sure. I don't want to discount that. I know, exactly. Now we can start. So 90 minutes starting right now is what you want, right? I remember Dallas Goedert being a solid blocker throughout his college and pro. I thought I remembered him being a bad blocker at first, but I could be totally wrong on that. 5 more. I ain't paying for them. I'm just begging for likes, shares, and subscribes. And you missed some really good dirty jokes earlier, Mitchie Poo. My bad. I should save the dirty jokes for when I know you're here. Yep. The Core 12 original. Goddard's best block is pushing Hurts in the push play. You know what? Cool. I'm all for it. Keep pushing. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. What else do we got on the agenda today? What else are we talking about today? According to Adam Schefter, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has been selected to the 2025 Time 100, an annual list of the 100 most influential people in the world. Yet Chase Daniels is out there saying on whatever dumbass channel he works for that there's 9 NFL players, 9 quarterbacks he would build his franchise around ahead of Jalen Hurts. Good for Jalen Hurts. Major. Good for him. He is influential. He's an awesome individual. What's up, Chet? Shameless plug time. Yes, tonight, Philly Press Box Radio, 7 p.m., right here on the STT Sports Network. Joining Chet, joining Bill, Flyers legend, Bob Hound Kelly. You're not going to want to miss it. 7 p.m. They do a great job, Chet. They cover it all. So make sure you're live right here. That's why you want to hit that like button, the share button, but most importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss interviews like Bob Hound Kelly. We can keep talking Phillies, too. Everything is on the table. We're bouncing back and forth on all of it. We spent a lot of time with the umpires today, Barb. You know, and how bad they've been this series with the Giants so far. And now yesterday it was just par for the course. They lose a game, then they win a game. It's basically what this season's going to be. We did spend a little time, and not many people commented. I was asked the question. I responded. No one else jumped in. I love the Bryson Stott leadoff. No more debating whether it's Turner or Schwarber or platoon them. Just put Bryson Stott there. Love it. I think it's a great idea. Barb, do you like Bryson Stott in the leadoff spot? Ertz was the veteran presence to support the Commanders' rookie quarterback. Absolutely. And that is probably why the Giants are interested in Dallas Goedert. You know, they're bringing in Sanders, you know, which would be hilarious if they drafted him. They've got the kid Milroe from Alabama scheduled to come in this weekend or this week. And they got 3 quarterbacks outside of, they don't have Dart and they don't have, obviously, Cam Ward, but they got 3 quarterbacks visiting. So if they're going to draft a quarterback, which they need a quarterback, it's a shame this year sucks on quarterbacks, go get a veteran tight end to help them out. No, I don't pay for shit. It's an inside joke between me and Mitchie Poo because he's tired of people paying for subscribers and views. Which a lot of us grinders on YouTube hate it, where you got a channel that gets 4 views a show but has 7,000 subscribers. Or they get 4 views a show, then one show spikes to 2,000 and the next show's back to 7 because they pay for it. Because there's all these people from other countries that DM you constantly. Do you want to grow your channel? I'll send you 10,000 organic subscribers and viewers. And it's all a joke. It's all a scam. No. That win yesterday was terrible. That was really crazy. I remember the Harper home run. I was like where the outfielders going to track it. And he thought he had a chance to the last second. And it was four rows back. Like, there was some crazy wind yesterday. The Hound would always be at Pro Corner in the Cherry Hill Mall. Good guy. Yeah, I mean, I never met him. But, yeah, I mean, Flyers legend. Tune in tonight, Nooms, if you want to hear what he's got to say. I'm sure they're going to talk some hockey. I'm sure they're going to talk some Flyers. I'm sure they're going to talk some of the future of the Flyers and how critical this offseason is for the Flyers. I would take Milroe over Sanders. Yeah, I think Sanders is going to be a major bust. If Sanders came into the NFL, was picked in the 2nd or 3rd round, was sat for a year or 2 to learn, I'd be okay with Sanders. Sanders is going to go in the top 15 of the draft. He's going to be forced into starting immediately, and he's going to fail miserably. Plain and simple. Big Sills pays heavy for his viewers. Does he? Maybe. I mean, that channel does have like 50,000 subscribers, too. So maybe. He does get a lot of super chats. People tip him a lot. So maybe he can afford to pay for the views. We close on April 25th. Thank you for asking. Oh, the house sale. Gotcha. Things are going well. Good. It's Easter. And WrestleMania weekend. They had Dart in for a workout. Oh, okay. I read a post about the ones that they were bringing in this weekend. I guess they should have probably, whoever it was, Schefter or Pelissero should have added. They already brought Dart in. All right. So you can get Dart late in the first round, second round. Let's trade Dallas Goedert and pick 32 to the Giants for pick number 3. Who says no? And then we can go get whoever we want at number 3. Do it. The Giants are dumb enough. Why not? We already robbed them of Saquon. Let's rob them of something else. I'd rather the Giants take Sanders. I don't want to see Abdul Carter twice a year. I don't think you'll see Jalen. I think that any team, whether it's the Browns picking at 2 or anybody else, I doubt the Browns trade pick 2, but if the Browns don't take Carter at 2, they're making a big mistake. Because you could put Carter and Myles Garrett on the same defensive line for the next 4 or 5 years. It's going to be the defense of the Browns has always been pretty solid. But how they wouldn't? I mean, if they don't take him at number 2, they'd be making a major mistake. I met Bob Kelly at his liquor store a while ago. He was pretty muscular. Interesting. Trying to fire through comments here. What's up, Ref the District guys? How you doing? Hope you are well. It's draft week. It's your opportunity next week to try to get a little bit closer to being as good as the Eagles. What is the Commanders? I don't even know where the Commanders are picking off the top of my head. Let me see here. Do they even have that? They're number 29. What are the Commanders going to do with pick 29? That's the question. Are they going to stay pat? They trade up? Or are they trading back? That's a question. Because I think the Commanders are in a position. I don't know what their future draft capital is, but with their team to do the same thing as the Eagles. Trade up, trade down, stand pat. I think there's that opportunity. The Giants might want to take Abdul Carter, but I think the Browns would be making a massive mistake by not taking Abdul Carter. Eric, I love all the comments that you guys are saying. I'm glad that you guys are working on things. I'm glad life is moving in the right direction for you guys. I do. I mean, it makes me feel good inside. Makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Both the New Jersey teams have had Dart in for a visit. The Jets have too. Yeah, but what are you doing at 29? What are you doing there? I'm curious. What's not what do you want? What's the expectation? What's the feeling? What's the vibe? Because right now in Philly, the vibe is they're not staying at 32. They're moving up or they're moving back. They're not staying at 32. Open up. Absolutely. The Commanders don't know what they are going to do. I could see making a run at Starks. It would suck that if we both are battling to make a run at Starks, right? The Giants are trying to trade back up into the first round to grab Sanders. Sanders is going to be a bomb, a bust, a terrible quarterback in the NFL wherever he goes. Only have 5 picks this year because it trades for Lattimore, Debo, and okay. So there's not really much you can do. So then that leads me to believe they got 29, 61, then they got 128, 205, and 245. That's a weak thing. That's a scenario there where then the Washington Commanders, if anybody wants Jackson Dart late in the first round, the Jets, the Giants, maybe they trade with the Commanders to get back into the late end of the first round to get that 5th year of a quarterback. I mean, I think there's enough depth in this draft that any team that doesn't want to stay at 29, 30, 32 can trade back. The more teams you add to the NFL, the more potentially unqualified front offices come into the league, and the more likely your player falls to you. Yeah, that's true. Are they talking about adding more teams right now? On TV, they said there's only like 18 players this year worthy of a first-round pick. That's pretty bad. Yeah, I see, the thing is, this year's draft is weird. There's a lot of solid players, Barb. A lot of them. But there's not many elite players. I mean, can we just say Cam Ward will go number 1 to the Titans? He's not a number 1 overall pick quarterback. Realistically, you've got Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, That's about it. They're the only elite studs that I see in this draft. I love you, Eric. You're my man. Expectations is to move back for more picks because of only 5 this year, 5 next year. Oh, and you only have 5 this year and only 5 next year, which is the complete out. You've got 10 picks over the next 2 years. The Eagles literally are sitting at like 21 picks in the next 2 years. Big difference in that ability. So someone said, could the Commanders make a move to try to move up to get Starks? Probably not. The Eagles are better suited for that because they've got the draft capital the next 2 years. Ironically, Dart is more the current model of the quarterback than Sanders. Very mobile quarterback, and Sanders is a bit more like a classic passing quarterback who really needs running back to succeed. Well, the running backs are becoming cool again. So maybe whoever drafts Sanders has to go get a running back. It's crazy. If the Giants get Sanders and they don't have a running back, when they did, and they let him walk. Ward is still a first-round pick in just about any draft, 1 overall. Yeah, I meant he's not a number 1 overall quality player. Like, the Titans have been lock set on Cam Ward as their pick since day 1. And it's crazy because he's not a top number 1. Like, I don't know if he would be in some of these years. Like, would Cam Ward have gotten drafted over Zach Wilson or Trey Lance? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Guys, it's the top of the hour. Guys, you're watching Trend in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Like, share, subscribe. We're talking Eagles and the draft. We're talking Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman's press conference yesterday. We're talking Phillies. Whatever about the Phillies. We're talking Sixers. We're talking confidence in the GMs in our city. And right now we're talking a lot about the draft and the Eagles. And I have the utmost confidence that he's not going to make a hasty decision, that he's going to make a well-thought-out decision. But there are people out there that still don't buy into Howie Roseman. The Birds have their impact players. This is a wet dream scenario for the Birds. Goes back to what Howie said. He doesn't like going into the draft with a direct specific need. He does that with free agency. And then he can go into the draft and just take the best player. And that's why I love him so much. I don't want that Ramsey guy out of Miami. Let the Giants, Commanders, or Cowboys take a shot at him. The Eagles aren't trading for Jalen Ramsey. They're not going to do it. They're probably not trading for TJ Watt or whatever. They're not trading for Trey Hendrickson, most likely, because all those guys need to get paid, Eric. And Howie is paying this young talent, not older talent. He's got to pay Jalen Carter. He's got to pay Nolan Smith. 2 years from now, he's got to pay Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I think after 2026, he's going to have to renegotiate Hurts's contract. So you're not going to go out there and trade for a guy that needs $40 million immediately. Just not going to do it. Dart played real teams in the SEC, too. I haven't seen enough Dart tape, honestly, Barb. I won't lie. Believe me, Stoner's a closet Roseman fan, says he's the best GM. Howie Roseman might arguably be the best GM in football. I think there's an argument to be made there. The fact that there's some Eagles fans out there that don't have confidence in him, don't believe in him, is disgusting, honestly. We've talked about it on this show many of times that if Howie Roseman got fired before the ink on the pink slip is dry, he'd have 10 offers from 10 teams that don't even need a GM lining up to get him into their city. Howie Roseman is elite. Yeah, somehow I'll ever say it. All right. Remember when Tommy Lasorda tried to kill the Philly fanatic? That was the fun. Where did this come from, mister? Yes, I remember that. The Philly fanatic and Tommy Lasorda had a great rivalry for a decade plus. I do remember that. And I love it. Then he tried to stomp on a Dodgers helmet and Lasorda. Then you have a ragdoll Lasorda. Dude, hilarious. Hilarious. If I were the Titans, I would trade out of the first overall pick and get some serious O-line, D-line help. This is their chance to build properly. They can still get a decent quarterback in the second. Duck, this is 100% what they should do. But the NFL, not for long. This is not what you can do. Most teams, most fan bases wouldn't accept this. Go out, get a great offensive line, defensive line, build the trenches. Look at what the Eagles have. Some would argue not a great quarterback. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is great, amazing, one of the best in the league because he's got the it factor. But you've got a great offensive defensive line to put him with. This is where teams fail. Go out and get a second round, third round quarterback. Go out and sign it. Go to the Eagles and trade a third round pick for Tanner McKee. And then if Tanner McKee's not the guy, you're still going to have a first round pick next year to go get somebody. And I already see, like Archie Manning next year. Absolutely. People build football teams backwards. The Eagles build them the right way. I know, those righteous, delusional Eagles fans, those bastards, you know. Ward might be the least talked about quarterback as a number 1 overall pick ever. I mean, you might not be wrong there. Absolutely. Absolutely. I honestly have seen less tape, film, and footage of Cam Ward on all TV and social media than any quarterback I can ever. I see more about Dart. I see more about Sanders. I see more about Milrow, all of them. Wars are one in the trenches, yeah. The Eagles have 2 great quarterbacks. Yeah, here we go again. There's another thing me and Rick disagree on. Look, if I'm the New Orleans Saints, I'm calling the Eagles. I would be putting it at 60% that a trade happens with the Saints. 2 different trades could happen. One, the Saints could trade for Tanner McKee. Derek Carr, shoulder injury, has to have surgery, out for the year. There are other quarterbacks on their roster: Spencer Rattler, Jake Hayner, and the Italian sandwich, Ben DiNucci. Okay? Kellen Moore knows Tanner McKee. Would they offer a second or third pick for Tanner McKee? They could do much worse. And if they don't do that, and the Eagles are sitting at 32 and want to trade back, it'll be very easy for the Eagles to talk to the Saints. Let me see. What's the Saints' second-round pick? The Saints' second-round pick is number 40. The Saints can offer number 40. The Saints can offer 40 and 93 for 32. They still got 71 mixed in there. The Saints are an excellent trade partner for the Philadelphia Eagles, whether it's for the quarterback or for pick 32 so that they can draft their quarterback. Stop. Tanner McKee is not a starter. Oh, no. Yeah. Don't piss off the McKeesters, God forbid. Teams that trade with Howie end up regretting it, but they still answer his calls. It's hilarious. It is. Barbara, I think you are right. I think Ward will be a solid NFL quarterback, a decent career. Yeah. Howie knows better than to trade McKee. Why? Why do you need Tanner McKee? If Jalen Hurts goes down and misses it like 8, 9, 10 weeks, the season is over. Tanner McKee ain't leading this team to the promised land. Is Howie a great GM or does Laurie spare no expense? I think both are accurate. What makes Howie Roseman so great is that Jeffrey Lurie is willing to spend on the upfront signing bonuses and upfront money and cash to keep the salary cap safe for other things. That is where Howie Roseman's success comes into play. Howie Roseman can negotiate these great contracts, upfront money, because Jeffrey Lurie's not afraid to write those big paychecks. So he's not. I don't even think he'd be playing in the UFL. Stop. I don't even believe you believe that, okay? Yeah, Will Levis is pretty bad. He is. Nola should offer 3-5 for McKee and a Goddard. Interesting. Their 3rd and 5th round pick. So, hold on. I had it up. I took it down already. Their 3rd round pick would be 93. So, 93, 131, and Dallas Goddard. 3 and 5 for McKee and Goddard. Give me their 71st pick instead of 91. 70. Give me that late 3rd round pick, or give me that earlier 3rd round pick. Or 2nd round pick. I don't know. 3 and 5 for both is a little light in my opinion. As long as Saquon stays healthy, we fine. Exactly. That's true. I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan, but when he gets injured, McKee will lead this team. No! Stop! Stop! You're psycho! You're hitting the bottle. You're drinking the IPAs too early. No! I mean, maybe he could be the next Foles. But no! Stop! You're I know you are just trolling at this point. Yeah. I mean, Jalen Hurts played phenomenally in the Super Bowl once they shut Saquon down. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. This is something new. I've done this with trades. You click on the team, you bring up all their picks, and you see what else they've got. Giants. I'm looking at the Giants for pick 32 if they want to get a quarterback. They got 30. The Giants have 4 top 100 picks, 5 top 105 picks. They got a lot of draft capital this year if they want to get someone. What do the Titans have after pick 1 overall? They only got 2 top 100 picks, 1 and 35, and that's it. So they don't have a lot to work with. The Jets, if they want to move up, 7. They just got basic draft picks. They got nothing special there. I don't know. McKee looking good against the Giants backups has broken people. I agree. McKee in a meaningless Week 18 game, it's going to turn into another Flynn or Chase Daniels type situation. Matt Flynn or Chase Daniels situation. It's insane. His name is Beeman, yeah. Steeman Willie Beeman? I'm serious about McKee, and it's not a knock on Hurts, but I've seen the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. No, you're insane. You are legitimately insane, Rick, for thinking this. Legitimately insane. We need to trade him immediately, just so this kind of nonsense stops. 3 and 5 don't have to be this season. We could get next season to get Arch Manning just to piss everybody off. We are a quarterback factory, right? This is so. I can't even take you seriously right now, Rick. I can't. Jets are jinxed, lost cause team. They never get anything right. No. If we have 500 subs in the next 15 minutes, sure. I will proclaim Tanner McKee the future of the Eagles. I will do day 1, day 30, day 70, every day saying that Tanner McKee should be the future quarterback of the Eagles. Every day till it happens. If we did that. Yeah, day drinking it. Yeah. Day drinking. Dude. According to Peanut, check out Peanut's YouTube channel. He did a video about Einstein maybe being on the spectrum, just so you know. It was an interesting video, actually. Made me think a little bit. Check out Pixelated History, link down below. Why are you, first off, for what? All right. Rick, let's backtrack for a second here, because I'm getting pissed off now. For you to think the insane thing you think is actually going to happen to this year, that means you are predicting and hoping for a Jalen Hurts injury that ends his career in Philadelphia. Why would you be expecting and predicting and hoping for a Jalen Hurts injury so your prediction can come true? If you really are predicting Jalen Hurts to get hurt, you are insane. Why would you want Jalen Hurts to get hurt so it can happen? Like, completely insane. All right, Tanner McKee might be better than I think he is. Fine, okay, whatever. But I've never been so delusional that I hope for an injury just so maybe Tanner McKee could be the guy. It's insane. And you're going to play into a guy like Pumpman that just hates Jalen Hurts anyway. What's up, Pumpman? Good morning. Glad to see you back in the trending in the AM chat. The worst part is the Jets get so close to getting everything right, and they still come up way short. It's true. No, not last night, because his only time on the bases was a home run. How come the NFL never drug tested Saquon for PEDs? I think they actually did one game. I think they did. People thought Tesla was insane too, but look. You're looking for a Jalen Hurts injury to prove your point. Like, no, Rick might be replacing Daryl Morey. I might be calling out Rick on social media after this show. Like, seriously. We are up to over 23 likes on this video. Fantastic work, guys, on the likes. We do need more subscribers. We haven't gained a subscriber yet today. So like, share, subscribe as we get to the final 15 minutes here. Like, Rick, I love you. You're my man. Well, that's what you're saying. You're saying it's going to happen this year, that he's going to have a Tom Brady scenario, which the Tom Brady scenario happened because Drew Bledsoe had a season-ending injury. You're predicting a season-ending injury. Maybe you're not hoping for it. You're predicting a season-ending injury instead of talking about your Super Bowl MVP quarterback, because you've got a narrative that McKee is going to be the next Tom Brady. There's literally nothing that Tanner McKee has done that has proven that he's going to be the next Tom Brady, who is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, a Mount Rushmore athlete of all time. I can't tell the players when they all wear 40. I hate it. I know why they do it, Barb. I hate it. For the same reason. Saquon is more likable than AJ in his book club. I love AJ, by the way. I love AJ too. I'm not hoping for a Hurts injury. I'm just saying that if he does well, we will be fine. Oh, stop. He's done nothing. Nothing. We're at 23, actually, just so you know. McKee is for me. You're trying really hard with that one there, Big Al. I want to see if we can 2 and 3-peat just to see the talking heads. Look, you got Chase Daniels out there saying he would take 9 other quarterbacks ahead of Hurts to build a team around. He's insane. But not as insane as saying Tanner McKee is the next Tom Brady. Because that is insane. YMCA. Everybody now, YMCA. Talking about the YMCA. Absolutely. I mean, he does work at a bar. He does have a show talking about beer and Eagles, birds and beer. But, like, seriously, I know you are adamant about your opinions, and you don't back down, and I respect the hell out of that. But I'm telling you, I think this opinion, here's how much I think your opinion on Tanner McKee is insanity, Rick. The Phillies have a better chance of winning the World Series, and you have a better chance of convincing me of that, despite me not thinking that, than you do that Tanner McKee is even 1/10 the quarterback of Tom Brady. I might bazzoon hoop my top off here today. McKee is not the future. You saying McKee is the future is you saying you don't think Jalen Hurts is the future. Jalen Hurts just won the damn Super Bowl MVP. And you're already moved on to the next guy. It's pathetic. Sorry, Rick. I like AG too. Yeah. I don't need to day drink to be correct. But you're not correct. Tanner McKee is not the future. The future's already here in Jalen Hurts. Everybody's always looking for the next big thing instead of appreciating what you have. Appreciate the fact that you got Jalen Hurts. Appreciate the fact that you got an MVP quarterback. Appreciate what you have instead of worrying about what maybe might be down the line. What the hell does this have to do with anything? I think he's trolling her. No, I think Rick's serious. I do. Because the only two opinions we've disagreed on are the Phillies one is just good argument. This one really pisses me off because I think you're forgetting about what you have. Your opinion is based off of something bad happening to Jalen Hurts. And to me, I think that's wrong. I just firmly, 1,000%, strongly disagree with you on this one. Who cares? They can speak Portuguese, Japanese, Chinese, these. I don't care. Well, you could scream it into the mic if you want. You've got a mic too. Rick, the thing is, the two opinions that we disagree on. The Phillies are separate issue. This is very, very weird to me. All the McKeisters are weird to me. Because you've got a franchise quarterback, but you're hoping someone else is the franchise and future of this team instead of what you have. It's not like Jalen Hurts is 33 years old. Jalen Hurts is young. Jalen Hurts has been relatively healthy. Jalen Hurts has taken us to 2 Super Bowls and won us a Super Bowl. But you're worried about the next quarterback instead. Appreciate what you have. Don't look into the future yet. I think he's going to be on New Orleans too, Jonathan. I think that's what brought this all up. That's what started this argument. Oh, I know he's serious. I know it. How do you know this, Brian? How do you know he has the intangibles? Because he beat up on third stringers of the Giants in Week 18 in a meaningless game that nobody cared about? You do have strong opinions, and you stick to them, and I appreciate that. And we are just debating. I'm passionate because I disagree. I'm not shouting. I'm showing passion, Rick, which is what I think makes this show so great, that we can have this discussion. I'm not calling you an idiot. You're not calling me an idiot. We're passionately debating it. I just think this one's wrong. And I think the reasoning for your opinion to happen and actually become accurate would be bad news for the Eagles. Exactly, Barb. I think this is weird as well, Mitchie Poo. I think rant, fired up, and pissed off Phil doesn't happen enough. That's what gets you to the 500, right? Tanner McKee is the Solo Sikoa. Yeah, pretty much. Not even on the WrestleMania card. Now, I know Big Al don't agree with that. Not worried about the next quarterback. I just think our next quarterback is really effing good. We don't need a next quarterback because Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years. By the time Tanner McKee gets that opportunity, Rick, Tanner McKee is going to be 30 years old or older. McKee is not getting the job full time. Even if Jalen Hurts, all right, let's backtrack a little bit here. Even if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, week 3, done for the year, and Tanner McKee comes in. Next year, Jalen Hurts is still the quarterback. Jalen Hurts is the franchise. Exactly. That's how he helps the franchise. That's debatable. That's debatable. McKee is. I'm not going to throw it because I know Rick's not that kind of a person. You're funny. You try too hard sometimes. You'll remember this day as well. And look, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. I'm the only one that admits I'm wrong. That has a microphone. But I think you'll be admitting you're wrong before I am on the Tanner McKee. I might be wrong on the Phillies, Rick, but I'm not wrong that Tanner McKee is the future of this team. What aura? How? What aura does he have? Please explain it. Please explain it. It's not. And if it does, that means a disaster happened. Yeah, true. People said Drew Bledsoe was the franchise. Yeah, sure. And why did that happen? Because Drew Bledsoe took a massively bad injury. And for you to be right, Jalen Hurts has to get hurt to the point where he is done. Your prediction is reliant on Jalen Hurts having a devastating injury. I think that's why I've got a problem with it. I'm not saying you want an injury, but your prediction is based off a devastating injury happening. That's true as well, Jonathan. It's not. It is, and I called it out right away, Rick. I know Anthony brings that up on the Hurts conversation very regularly, and sometimes it is accurate with certain people. I know it's not with you. Okay. Didn't even know they had McKee. They do have McKeisters. You're not hoping for it, but you're predicting it. No, it's not. Stop. It might be with some people. It is not with Rick, Anthony. It's not. I'm going to shut that down right there. And no more comments about the race part of it. I have more respect for the NFL to arbitrarily say that quarterbacks like McKee just come in and dominate. The NFL is not. Look. I don't know how we got this. This is my fault for bringing up Tanner McKee to the Saints. That's what this is. This is all my fault for bringing up McKee to the Saints. Plain and simple. Exactly. If actual talent evaluators, believed in McKee like Rick does and Pumpman does, then someone would have already traded for him. Instead of going into this draft looking at Cam Ward, Sanders, Dart, Milrow. If one of those teams that's going to draft those guys actually thought McKee was any good, they would have traded for him already. Hey, we always spark good debates when it's me versus you. AJ Feely. I think Tanner McKee is more like AJ Feely than the franchise future quarterback. I'll tell you that. That is a load of horse donkey. Howie knows that he's going to get more in a value for him, but that's it. That is not why. Not why. Not why. Guys, we're coming up to the final couple of minutes. I guess we'll have to pick up this. It's great because, Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, quarterback talk is always what sparks debates and always sparks this show's conversation. It just does. And it's crazy how easy it is to do that. We've worked on that. We'll try. This show's not very good for guests because once you get a guest, then the debate stops with with you guys, and I want to continue the show about you guys. This is the best 15 minutes. It was a fun 15 minutes. The last 15, 20 minutes really did fly by. Yeah, get the phone lines up and running. Again, somebody's got to come in and show me that. Got a first for Sam Bradford. Hey, I got a first for them. I'll take Aaron McKee. I'll take Aaron McKee over Tanner McKee. Exactly. 2 birds, 1 show. I love it. Problem is I have to catch it on replay on the weekend because by 10 o'clock I'm in bed most days. That's the problem with your show. I'm an old man that's got to get up for this. So, you got to start doing your show at 9 o'clock for me. Anyway, guys, we got to wrap this show up today. Fantastic, fiery, passionate show. And we'll do more of it tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow. I got to call the surgeon and get my tooth removed. Whether they do that tomorrow or Friday, I don't know. If I can get an early morning appointment one of these next days, we might not have a show one of these next couple days. But if that doesn't happen, we'll be back tomorrow. Take Damian Wayne over McKinney. Exactly. I'm sure the Waynes brothers had some athleticism in their families. I'm sure. That's right. Go Phillies. Who do the Phillies even have going tonight? We barely talked Phillies today. Barely. They got another afternoon night game. We got Robbie Ray on for the Giants versus Aaron Nola. That's a good one. I love when Aaron Nola pitches because it really pisses people off. All right, guys. Time to wrap this up. I've done it before, for sure. It sucks because I have their repeat customer like punch card. You get 5 teeth removed, the 6th one's free. I'm one more tooth removed from getting a free tooth removal. Anyway, guys, we got to wrap this up. Everybody, again, YMCA, like this video, share this video, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it, guys. But with that being said, everybody have a great Wednesday. Great day. Go Birds. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.